catfished.
It's very disturbing. I wish to leave immediately.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amomi, aka Petite Diva, and this video is all about the dark side of K-pop, K-drama, and the beauty standards in South Korea. Now, this video is inspired by a video a certain Korean American made, and where she was talking to foreigners that are thinking of going to South Korea. She was talking about the beauty standard and where foreigners might fall in the South Korea beauty standard if they are not white or white person.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you're a foreigner and you're not white, the chance that you're going to be considered pretty in Korea is extremely low. As some of you guys already know, Korea has very specific beauty standards, and that being said, no matter if you're a foreigner or not, you have to fit into beauty standards if you want to be called pretty. Which means you have to fit in the same beauty standard that works for Korean people. So regardless of your races or your skin color, you have to be pale, you have to be skinny, you have to have a high nose bridge, and etc. So girls that look like her are the ones that are considered pretty in Korea. Here's another example of a foreign girl that will be considered super pretty in Korea. So as you can see, 90% of the time they're all white. So if you're looking like those two girls, congratulations, you are pretty in Korea. However, one thing I want you guys to understand is that most majority of Korean guys still don't see foreign girls seriously, which I'm gonna make another video about. So don't get taken advantage of, please. I also wanted to add that if you don't fit into Korean beauty standard or beauty standard anywhere, who gives a fuck? Nobody cares. And I know it sounds cliche, and I did have a phase where I thought there was only one way to be beautiful, but as I'm seeing many people from many backgrounds, now I truly believe that everyone is beautiful in their own way. So yeah, I just mentioned it so you guys don't take this video too seriously, and if you guys have anything else you want to know, please let me know.
Now, in a video, she talked about how if you are a foreigner that is not white or white person, that you might not be considered pretty or beautiful in South Korea. She also talked to those that might be considered pretty in South Korea and warned them about some of the South Korean men and how they treat women, and that they should be careful when such men approach them. Then she concluded by talking to women that might not be considered pretty by South Korean beauty standard and other country beauty standards. She tried to encourage people to not think about the beauty standard and where they fall on, and just try to work on themselves, their confidence, and not care about all the beauty standards that might make them feel that they are not pretty. Now, a lot of people had things to say about that video. People were like calling her out on all sides. People felt that her video was not entirely okay. And so many people that are foreigners in South Korea, living in South Korea, or have lived in South Korea, shared their own experience and their own opinion about our video. So let's check them out, and then I'll come back to share my thoughts.
I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you're a foreigner and you're not white, the chance that you're going to be considered pretty in Korea is extremely low.
It's very hypocritical to build your whole entire platform on how you grew up being called ugly in Korea and how that affected you. Just to then make a video saying that foreign women are not attractive in Korea unless they look Russian. You gave two examples of what you had to look like as a foreigner to be considered attractive. The things that you talk about were true 10 to 15 years ago. And it's interesting that you're choosing to not engage with and ignore foreign women in your comments telling you that that is not true at all. Sometimes a foreigner is going to know more about life in Korea than you, who has not lived in Korea for many, many years. It's actually also interesting to me that you refuse to delete and block the person who tagged me in your video and used your words to call me ugly. Most foreign women in Korea do not care or think about the Korean beauty standard. However, people love to weaponize it against us. And the only comments that you do engage with are the ones that are agreeing with you or being rude to one of my friends who called you out, who is Korean herself, and is telling you that you are wrong. You always talk about how you were made to feel ugly in Korea and how in America everyone calls you beautiful. You are not the American beauty standard, yet you can be considered beautiful, because you see how two things can be true at once. Your boyfriend is literally Croatian, one of the whitest countries there is. You do not fit the Croatian beauty standard, yet he finds you attractive. why does that rule only apply to you? I just don't appreciate someone speaking for me, claiming to know more about my experience.
To break it to you, but if you're a foreigner and you're not white, the chance that you're going to be considered pretty in Korea is extremely low.
Anyways, what did Kendrick say?
They not like us. They not like us. They not like.
In all seriousness, that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in 2025. 2025. The fact that I can't even stitch this video, but the video is still up, just shows her character to the fullest degree. I know enough people have talked about it, so I don't need to reiterate the same stuff, but I just want all brown or black people who are interested in coming to Korea to ignore what she said. Take it from a person of color, take it from a black girl, take it from all the other black people who live in Korea, all the brown and black people who live in Korea. Let them tell you personally, that is not the case. Those beauty standards don't apply to us. Yeah, you will get called pretty. Unfortunately, that is some bullshit.
To you, but if you're a foreigner and you're not white, the chance that you're going to be considered pretty in Korea is extremely low. You know, Korea has very specific beauty standards, and that being said, no matter if you're a foreigner or not, you have to fit into beauty standards if you want to be called pretty.
Girl, it is giving Koreans don't find me pretty, so they will never find you pretty because you're a foreigner and you're not white and blonde. I don't even know what was the purpose of that video, but that sounds so bad and there's a lot to unpack there. I saw that creator a few times on my FYP and I thought like, oh my god, that's a Korean girl that moved to the US and she's denouncing the crazy South Korean beauty standards. But I was so surprised to see that she came up with this video. It looks like she also believes in that South Korean beauty standard, and because she doesn't fit in, it's literally impossible for her to think that other people who are not white and not Korean could be considered pretty in Korea. And that's so insane to me. Like, I get it, I'm a black girl and there are a lot of racist people, but at the same time, like, don't tell me I'm ugly. What? I mean, I didn't come to Korea to fit in the Korean beauty standards because I'm literally from another race, so I'm not expecting to fit in their beauty standards, okay? But do not tell me I'm ugly because I'm not. Whenever I look at the mirror, I see a baddie and I get told that I'm baddie every day. The first thing that I got told when I got down from the plane in South Korea was, "Wow, 진짜 예쁘다." And that was from an old Korean lady, an ajumma. She was literally like, "Wow, 예쁘다." And she came to me and she started talking to me and asking me a bunch of questions because she thought I was pretty. I mean, I get it. Korea has crazy colorist beauty standards. Beauty is so subjective. So, like, if you think that I'm not pretty, like, keep it to yourself. Don't come here trying to convince me that I'm not pretty because I don't fit in the Korean beauty standards. What the hell?
If you're a foreigner living in Korea and you're not white, are the chances of you being considered beautiful in Korea low? If you know, you know. She's completely entitled to her own opinion, but I just wish she didn't start the video where it was like very aggressive and like triggering, where she was like, "I'm sorry to break it to you," as if she was talking on behalf of the whole country. Pretty is pretty. Beautiful is beautiful. I just want to talk about one thing that people just don't seem to understand. Koreans using brightening skincare products and favoring like paler skin complexion is not because they want to look like white people. It has nothing to do with white people. It goes way back in history where if you're pale, then that means you were staying indoors and not outdoors working. You had pale skin back then, it means you weren't out in the sun farming, and that just trickled down to today.
This is for my black girls that want to go to South Korea. If you're not black, then please just keep scrolling. Girl, you are not a beauty standard in South Korea. There are going to be some men that will be attracted to you, but you're not a beauty standard, okay? We're talking about the plastic surgery capital in skin lightening. When I was in Korea, I looked like Shrek to 90% of the public. You go there, just remember that when they flocking over to the doves, don't get hurt. You better go to Korea with a mission, and it better not be to get a man.
Okay, so there has been a lot of conversation on Black women and desirability in South Korea, and I just want to chime in as a Black woman that currently does live in South Korea. I think that perpetuating ideas that Black women are at the bottom of the totem pole when it pertains to desirability and attraction and attractiveness in South Korea is actually very harmful. As for me, in my experience, I've had girls in the restroom, Korean women, tell me, "You look beautiful, so pretty. Like, can we exchange Instagrams?" I've had baristas, sweet baristas, literally come to the window and say, like, "You look stunning." Run to the window, in fact, to tell me that I look beautiful, that they love my outfit. And while I understand understand that as Black women, we also have to deal with such things as colorism and things of that nature. I know a range of women from lighter tones to deeper complexions who are being deeply loved on here in South Korea. So I think trying to break the news to us, um, that we're undesirable or that we don't fit the standards. I think that's never a non Black woman's place to try to tell another group of people their desirability when it pertains to the world. I think that we show up in authentically beautiful ways. We take up space. People acknowledge that. We're foreigners, and so we're going to have different makeup styles and different ways of carrying ourselves. But one thing across the board in life in general that always resonates, regardless of where you're at, is beauty. You're beautiful, you're beautiful. You carry yourself well, people like that, they'll acknowledge that. So let's not perpetuate harmful ideas that will have the Black girls thinking that they're not like lovable in South Korea, because ladies, you are. You heard it here first.
My love, you're asking me if I am considered beautiful here in Korea. I would say, of course, no. Like, me? No. Like, Korean beauty standards are way beyond me. Like, I'm not even among the inclusive. Like, they don't even talk about my beauty. Like, so I don't really care. And I love Korean people. I actually love that they have culture and they have beauty standards, because some people don't have that. So me, absolutely not the beauty standards. I'm not pale skin. I'm literally jet black person. Like, I'm literally jet black. Like, people would disrespect me and trying to step on my head because they feel like they don't see me. Like, the bus driver will bypass me because they don't see me. So I will not talk about beauty standards here.
So I saw this video of the girl saying that in Korea only like white features are celebrated or considered pretty, and darker skin or black features or foreigners that are not white are not considered pretty in Korea. I wanted to share my story and my opinion, because I feel like it's a little bit different and I think it's interesting. So I grew up in Canada, Montreal, and at the time, now it's a little bit like different, the vibes, but at the time it like light skin was like popping. If you were darker skin, it was kind of like, you went through it. If you know, you know. So to be honest, I did not get attention from men except for like one, and he ended up dating like a biracial light skinned girl, So in my experience, I didn't get attention from men until I came to Korea for real. Like, yeah. So in a sense, they were actually less colorist than, perhaps the Black community at a time, or like the Western world, and they were more focused on the features. And since I was like maybe slimmer, that was the first time that I was praised for it. Like, that was the first time people were actually saying like, oh, I look beautiful, and they liked my body, when I never got that. I always was shamed for being on the skinnier side in Canada, basically, especially in the Black community. And I'm going to tell you what the tea is, what the real tea is. The tea is, these girls are your op. Because this is a tired conversation. Men are going to like men. Like, men, I don't believe men have a type. If you're pretty, you're pretty. If they want you, they will want you. Like, there's no science to it. There's no like formula. I've seen women of all kinds dating all kinds of men. Like, Korean men are not different. Like, they will date what they want to date, and there's no way you would know. And I'm a model in Korea, for God's sake. Like, I mean, how would I be able to make a living as a model in Korea if they thought I was ugly? Make it make sense. Thank you. This is a tactic that has been here since the time, to belittle or stop the women of color, Black or other, to pursue what they want to do. Like, this is a scare tactic to stop you from going to Korea, to stop you from going to Greece, stop you from going to Italy. Like, I don't know, whatever it may be, for you to be afraid to pursue something, or to do something, or to always have to belittle you, have a smaller like self-esteem, or a bad image of yourself. You know what I mean. And you need to not let them do that, not let that narrative control your life, because or else you will be letting people stop you from achieving what you could achieve, which, like, for my case, modeling. Like, if I listened to everybody saying Korea is going to think you're ugly, I would have never came here, and I would have never been able to find an agency and model here full time.
So I've seen so much discourse about like beauty standards in Korea and foreigners being held to these beauty standards. Like I've just seen too many TikToks about this, so I just like want to say something and leave it alone. But like firstly, I think people need to understand that like Koreans don't hold foreigners to Korean beauty standards because like it's Korean beauty standards for a reason, you know, like okay. Also, like every country, you're either pretty or you're not pretty. But most importantly, I just don't understand like why Korea is like the standard for beauty. Like why do you guys think like going to Korea and being perceived as beautiful or ugly like will change your life or make it any worse or any better? People in Korea have called me pretty. Then there's been people in Korea who are like really racist and don't even want to sit next to me on the subway. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, you go to Korea because you like the culture, you want to see the food, you want to see the attractions, like, you want to do all the touristy stuff and, like, visit and have a good time. Maybe you're there for K-dramas, K-pop shopping, whatever, skincare. But, like, you're going to Korea to have a good time. You're not going there to be the next Miss Korea. You're not going there to be, like, Miss Seoul, you know? So, at the end of the day, like, this doesn't matter. And I also think it's, like, harmful for creators, especially, like, Korean creators to like make videos talking about like this is how Koreans will see you, this is how Koreans will judge you, because like you don't speak for the whole country. And once again, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because you're not going to Korea to be like an idol, you're not going to Korea to like be judged on your beauty, you're going there to visit the country. So like I think we should stop pushing these standards. But yeah. Also, lastly, if you're going to Korea just to date and that's what's discouraging you when you hear this like beauty discourse, then that's something else you need to unpack. Like, if you're like that worried about whether or not Korean men find you desirable, like you really need to unpack that. But that's it.
I did see and watch that Korean American girl's video where she said that if you're a foreigner in Korea and you are not white, Korean people don't think you're pretty and don't consider you pretty because of toxic Korean beauty standards. She did get a lot of heat for that. Well deserved. Here's the thing. Korean people don't give a shit what your race, ethnicity is. If you are pretty, you are pretty. They will tell you you're pretty. Korean people have no fucking problem telling people that they're pretty. They will tell you and they will mean it. Okay? And I'm not saying that, you know, her statement can't be true. There are Korean people out there who are incredibly racist, who are incredibly closed-minded, and who are incredibly ignorant, as do all other countries. It's not just Korea. Listen, I just think it's kind of crazy to be posting something like that with the verbiage being used in there, that if you are not white, it is not right. That is basically what I heard out of that entire video. I also feel like Korean people don't apply the toxic Korean beauty standards to foreigners. I feel like that has never applied to foreigners. I feel like the toxic Korean beauty standards have applied to us as Koreans. Do I feel like they apply that towards foreigners? No, because they know that their beauty standards are completely different than ours. So like, I don't know. I guess I've was like, where are you going with this? When she said because of the toxic Korean beauty standards, that I feel like they don't really apply that towards foreigners. And this is why sometimes I have a hard time liking this sort of content, this content about foreigners in Korea or being a foreigner in Korea, because there are a lot of harmful, like, stereotypes and generalizations that happen in this type of content. And to anyone who is thinking about going to Korea, who's thinking about moving to Korea, and you are not white, it is okay. If you are pretty, you are pretty. Okay?
Now, after it seemed like she was getting backlash for that video, she made an apology video. In that apology video, which has been deleted, she apologized for the people that she made uncomfortable with her video. She also said that she wanted to clarify some of the things that she said. She now talked about the fact that she has not been to South Korea for quite a while, that even though she lived in South Korea for a while, and in some of her videos, she has talked about the fact that she was not considered pretty while she was living in South Korea. And when she moved to USA, she was now considered pretty. She talked about the fact that she's not a foreigner in South Korea, so she doesn't think that, she feels like she should not have talked about it from a foreigner point of view because she's not a foreigner. And she also talked about the fact that that experiences might be different based on a lot of factors.
To break it to you, but if you're a foreigner and you're not white, the chances you're going to be considered pretty in Korea is extremely low. Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and apologize to everyone that I made feel uncomfortable and offended by my last video. I've only seen one stitched video, so I'll be apologizing for what I said wrong, and also I would like to clarify some of the things that I didn't intend to mean based on what was mentioned there. I've made videos talking about how I grew up ugly in Korea and started to get called pretty after moving to the States, and because of that video, there were some people asking me to explain how the beauty standard works differently towards non-Korean people, which is why I made that video. First of all, I was not the right person to make such a video like that because I've never lived in Korea as a non-Korean person, so I wouldn't know what it's like to be one, so it was very inconsiderate of me for even making that video in the first place. I also realized many things that I said in the video were pretty outdated. When I talk about Korea, I tend to talk about it based on what I experienced, but I didn't take into consideration that it's already been 5 years and many things that have changed, which is also my fault because it is my job to do the right research before making a video. I remember being quite shocked when I visited Korea back in 2022, which was my first time visiting ever since I moved to the States in 2019, by how there's so many things that have changed in such a short period of time. But I was not wise enough to realize that just like how things change, people change, the way they think change, and society change as well. So I want to apologize for that.
And now a lot of people, especially people of color, were actually angry about her video. And personally, based on my information that I've gathered about South Korea, I don't think she was saying anything that if you've been researching into South Korea and their beauty standard, forgetting about K-pop, the K-pop stars, the K-drama stars that look a particular kind of way that make you feel like, oh, everybody is like that and everything. Nothing she said would have made you triggered, in my own opinion. It's only if you're looking at South Korea with rose-colored glasses that you might have really like gotten offended by what she said. Personally, when she said it, I was like, it's not news that South Korea has a very weird and strict beauty standard. And South Korea in the last couple of months has been really looking like a bad place to be for even South Korea. Now, South Korea is literally called the plastic surgery capital of the world for a reason. There are a lot of people in South Korea that they do a lot of surgery to change the way they look. Now, finding out that middle school children, middle school, I believe, are between 12 to 14, from what I know. How are 12 to 14-year-olds doing plastic surgery because someone years ago told them monoliths were ugly? Now, most of the stars that you see, the K-pop stars, the K-drama stars, almost every one of them, if you look at them carefully, you would notice that they've done a lot of things to their face. So they did not get to look that good just by aging normally. Now, I know that South Korea has a lot of advanced skincare technology, skincare treatment that most of those stars, most of them are opportune to use. But if you follow quite a few of some plastic surgeons, you will know that quite a lot of them have done plastic surgery to look the way they look like, because there is this strict and dark side to their beauty standard in that country.
So my question for you is, what if we even out the playing field for everybody? We get rid of jaw surgery. We get rid of double eyelid surgery, a nose job. Because the entire generation have normalized plastic surgery and the standard of an attainable, depreciating beauty. Like, who in the right mind as a society tells us that having a monolid is ugly? Who? That not having a Eurocentric nose or a flat nose is ugly? Who? Why, as a society, we said, because of classism, that white is only the accepted beauty. Now, fast forward 2024, what if we even out the playing field for everybody? What's gonna happen? How is everybody gonna look like? That's a big question. What if an entire generation, before they turn 16, don't get double eyelid surgery? Statistically. What if an entire generation don't get a nose job or don't get jaw surgery? Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have to work on and impress people with your character, your values, and your personality. So, how about that? If they have a functioning eye, a functioning nose, a perfectly working limb, they are beautiful.
Now, there are so many people who would actually collaborate with what the Korean Americans said in our video. I've seen several videos where people who are not slim looked in a particular way. You would even notice it from some of their K-pop stars and K-drama stars, where they are giving strict diet not to go over a particular weight, because if they get fat, if they get a bit of muscle, they will get a bit of flesh, they will be deemed ugly. They might not be able to sell them that much. They might not be able to push them in the limelight. There are so many K-pop trainees that are on strict diet that when I hear about it, I'm like, are you people nuts? Who is surviving on that kind of meal? And the fact is that this strict diet sometimes might not just be for K-pop stars or K-drama stars or the rest. It's also for normal people, because they don't that body. Also, it seems among South Korean there is an hierarchy of foreigners in their mind. So they place some foreigners above some other foreigners. Even among Asians, that was one that just blew my mind. Even among Asians, because I've seen how some people have said that because they are from Philippines, they are from Indonesia, from Singapore, they are looked at in a particular kind of way in South Korea. I saw a video of someone talking about the fact that a friend who looked Chinese, but was from Philippines, that she was teaching in a school. When they found out that she was from Philippines instead of China that they thought she was, some of the students' parents said that she has to be removed from the school because they don't want someone from Philippines teaching their child.
약간 한국인들이 뭐 서양 사람들은 좀 더 높게 보는 느낌이에요. 그래서 이거 친구한테 들었거든요. 학원에서 일하고 있어요. 근데 그 친구가 약간 중국인 생겼어요.
중국인 같이?
근데 필리핀 사람이에요. 합격됐어요, 학원에서. 근데 갑자기 한 일주일 후에 거기 있는 부모님들이 그 친구가 필리핀 사람이라고 들었어요. 그래서 그거 컴플레인하고 잘렸어요. 그 전에는 아예 컴플레인 없었는데 갑자기 필리핀 사람이니까.
그 말씀에도 엄청 제가 겪어봤던 거예요. 제가 중앙아시아 사람이잖아요. 유럽, 미국에서 온 친구들과 같이 이렇게 있을 때 유럽 쪽 사람들에게 뭔가 이탈리아는 어때요? 프랑스는 어때요? 아니 너 나라 어때? 네. 기분이 안 좋죠.
You have to prove yourself. 그런 느낌?
That was blown. Like, you got to be kidding me. And there was a particular street interview where someone was interviewing some elderly South Korean about if their son should bring a foreigner, what type of foreigner would they want. Some of them were tilting towards the white foreigners, and some people were also talking about American. And I noticed after some videos that I've watched, it seemed like the hierarchy of foreigners that are not Asians are from America, the white Americans, then after the white Europeans, after probably black Americans, black Africans were like bottom. And these are people that are South Koreans. So watching some of those videos, I just had a feeling that there might be an issue with the way they look at foreigners, with the way they look at people of color. I've also seen where South Koreans who are bigger are trying so much to reduce their weight because they are given a lot of backlash. There's so much things that they cannot do because they are bigger than the average South Korean female. And if you know a lot about K-netizens, you know that they are very weird with their bullying behavior, and it has led to a lot of suicide in South Korea. Recently, as recent as like 2 weeks ago, like 2 female stars have unalived themselves because of minute things that if they were in other countries, they would not be thrown under the bus. They will not be almost run over with a truck with the way they just act. One was driving under the influence. She was fine. She served her punishment. She did everything. And yet they wanted to frustrate the lady till she eventually unalived herself. So when you see that and you hear somebody saying, okay, this is how they do with their beauty standard, and you've been observing so many things that occur, you're not going to be so offended. I think the people that were really, really offended are people that were looking at South Korea with rose-colored glasses because, oh, BTS is from South Korea, we have Lee Min-yo and the rest of the rest, and they were just thinking that everybody is all sunshine and rainbow in South Korea. Every country has their dark side, unfortunately, and unfortunately too, South Korea seems to be a little bit weird with their beauty standard, but the fact is every country has their beauty standard that some people would never fit into. Now, someone was talking about the fact that when she was in Canada, she did not really fit into the Black community beauty standard, but when she went to South Korea, she's been told she's pretty. She's now a model because she's also slim, and that is something some people have used to counteract some people when they say their beauty standard is a particular kind of way. And sometimes some people of color might not fit into the beautiful side of the beauty standard in South Korea. And they've mentioned Tyler, the South African singer, and as someone that a lot of South Koreans have said she's beautiful and everything. And I need to point out a fact. She's very beautiful. She's very pretty. But I need to point out the fact that Tyler is slim. And slim is one of the things that make them think someone can be beautiful. So Tyler is slim. She practically looks like some of their female K-pop idols. If you do your research, if you look at Tyler, if you look at some of them, they practically have almost the same shape. And then she's now pretty face-wise. So that's one of the reasons I feel like they might feel like Tyler is very, very pretty by their standard, because she's already having some of the things that they consider pretty. Now, someone like Tyler in some African countries might not be considered so pretty, but they might say her face card is never declining, it's pretty, but her body-wise, they'll be like, she needs to gain weight. And that's the truth, because in some African countries, having a voluptuous shape is what is considered pretty. But in some Asian countries, being slim, being small, having a small leg, having a small stature is what's considered pretty for a woman. So personally, I don't think that they should have attacked that Korean American for what she said. I think that people are, like I said, are romanticizing South Korea without being realistic. A lot of people want to go to South Korea because of it seems like South Korea is popping among the Asian countries with BTS, all the K-pop star, all the K-dramas star and everything. So people have romanticized South Korea, and they want, when they go to South Korea, they want to have a feel of the K-drama feeling. And if you tell them that you might go to South Korea and you might be disappointed that you're not going to see people like looking at you like how the K-drama stars look at their female lead and the rest in the drama, and it's kind of triggering to people.
By now, you've probably all seen this video. Basically, this woman comes to Korea and is shocked that not everyone looks like a K-pop star.
What's going on here?
And then she claims that she's been gaslit by the entire country.
We've been catfished. It's very disturbing. I wish to leave immediately.
What's crazy is that as someone living in Korea right now, I've actually met quite a few people who've come to this country with that exact same mindset. Especially when I first moved here, I was taking Korean language classes and I met a lot of foreigners whose express purpose of moving to Korea was to find a romantic partner. And for like 90% of them, their only cultural reference point for Korea was K-dramas or K-pop. In fact, there was this girl in my class who told me that the only reason that she was learning Korean was because she was planning to meet the Stray Kids. I don't know what the game plan was, but she was on a mission. Anyways, I thought it would be worth pointing out that if you do come to Korea to find a man, the guys that you're gonna meet out and about, like at a club in Hongdae or Gangnam, many of them are probably coming to you with a similar attitude, meaning just like you want to find a Korean man, a lot of them just want to find a foreign woman. Obviously, I can't speak for all of them, but for many of them, they're not looking for a wife or even a girlfriend. Many of them just want to experience a night with a non-Korean girl. I say all that to say, if you're coming to Korea with the express purpose of trying to find a romantic Korean life partner, you're probably playing yourself. Put aside for a moment that coming to this country expecting all men to look like a K-drama male lead is completely absurd. If you're just here to prowl for men, you're probably going to be the one that ends up being objectified and used. It'll be nothing like the K-drama fantasy that you've imagined. That much I can say. Come for the food, come for the sights, and I'm not saying don't go out and have fun, but keep your expectations in check.
But if you do your research and if you know you're going to South Korea, not because you're looking for a man, but because you just want to experience the culture, the food, the skincare product, and everything that is associated with South Korea, you might not really be disappointed with what she said. You might just take it as, okay, that's the way they are. It's not like every country is 100% perfect, but it's just something I would know about South Korea, because I've seen some women that are of people of color live in South Korea, and then they are trying and struggling to find an Asian man that will date and marry them, and then they keep on saying, oh, this is happening in South Korea, this is happening in this thing, and South Korean men are not like this, they are like that, like this. I'm like, if you went there for a purpose and not to really date, you might not be disappointed that you did not see. Some of the people that went there for a purpose and not really dated, I eventually found men that married them and they are happy. So my conclusion is, if you are going to South Korea as a woman of color, have a focus beside being concerned about the beauty standard or being concerned about getting a man, and a South Korean man, to act like a K-pop star or look like a K-pop star, look like a K-drama star. Go for your purpose, and if you are leaving, you leave fulfilled that your purpose has been achieved. Anything else that comes is just an extra. So I really don't see anything bad in what the Korean American said. That is my own opinion based on all the information that I have currently about South Korea. Maybe I might be wrong in some of my analysis, but based on what I know now, that is what I think about her video and what she said, and South Korea's K-pop, K-drama beauty standard. I don't know what you guys think about what the Korean American said concerning people of color. Do you think that she was trying to shade people of color and tell them that in a way that they are ugly if they go to South Korea? Or do you think she was just trying to teach people a little bit of the dark side about South Korea beauty standard? I would love to hear what you think about this topic, so please leave your comment in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.